Hey there, I want to show you how to use the Puppet Warp tool primarily, which is a tool which should let us reposition the arms and legs of this girl. Before we can use that, however, we need to prepare the image, because at the moment she's part of the background. I'm going to start by duplicating my background layer. There we go. So we've got a background copy, and then I'm going to use the object selection tool to cut the girl out. So I'm just going to left click and drag a box completely around her, and if we're lucky it should have made a reasonably good job of cutting her out. Let's just click on select a mask up here so we can check our selection. I'm going to use Control and plus to zoom in here. We can adjust the opacity of the background so we can see where it's working. And right away I can see there's a problem here where part of her body's been cut out. So I'm going to use the Refine Edge Brush tool just to paint over any missing pieces. Just checking we've got all our fingers. Oh, there's a piece of thumb missing up here, and a little bit of foot missing there, and maybe a piece of shoulder there. A piece of leg missing. There we go. And I think we can live with that. And then I'm going to click OK. Let's just zoom out so we can see what we're doing again. And then I'm going to create a layer mask by pressing the layer mask button. Now if I hide the background temporarily by clicking the eye, we can see we've got her separate. So I'm going to call that layer Girl. And I'm going to call my background layer Everything. And I'm going to duplicate my background layer again. And we're just going to call this layer Beach. Right. Now, because I've already masked the girl, if I control and click on the mask, it recreates that as a selection. So now I've got it selected, I'm going to turn off the girl layer. So we're looking at the original image. Now I'm going to use Content Aware Fill to get rid of the girl. But at the moment, because this selection is so tight around the edges of her, if I use Content Aware Fill, we would end up with some kind of artifacts messing up the thing. So I need to grow this selection. So if I go up to Select, Modify, Expand, I'm going to expand it by 10 pixels and click OK. And you can see right away my selection has grown around her. So now if I go Edit, Fill, and change here, this is usually set to foreground color, but change it to Content Aware, which is this one, and then click OK. With a bit of luck, she will mostly vanish. So I'm going to do Control and D to deselect her. And you can still, we've got a few little problems here. It's done quite a good job around the C, but there's a little bit of hair still in the way. So to get rid of that, I'm going to use the Clone Stamp tool over here. Clone Stamp tool paints with pixels from another part of the image. There's even a Learn How button down here if you're intrigued. But the basics of it, if I press the Alt key and click on the screen, I create an area where I'm going to sample from. And then if I left click and start painting, I can just paint out from the little plus area into the circle area. Ooh. Let's click a bit over here and go over there. Alt click here. And I'm just going to get rid of some of these grey bits of ocean. That's probably fine. Now you'd never know she was missing. Right, so if we turn her back on, we can see we've now got her, the girl, we've got the beach layer, and we've got everything. I'm keeping the everything layer so we can do a before and after. Right, so with the girl selected, let's convert that into a smart object. So I'm selecting the grey background of the girl layer, right clicking and converting to smart object. This will allow us to undo any changes if we make a mistake and we want to go back. Then I want to go to edit and then puppet warp. Okay, this lets us put in a bunch of I suppose they're push pins, aren't they, into different parts of the girl. What it's creating in the background is a mesh. It's a 3D modeling term. It's a bunch of triangles with the image overlaid on top of them. When we put in a push pin, we kind of pin in different parts of it in place, so we can move it around. I prefer to have the show mesh turned off because it kind of gets in my face and kind of confuses me. So I just left click to add a pin, and I've left clicked to add a second pin. Oh, we cut off a piece of a finger there. I'm going to ignore it, act like it never happened. And now then we can, well, if you try and move it, you see her whole body's moving. So we probably need to stick a pin through her neck. And now, see, we've got an amount of flexibility there where we can move her arms around. You can't move things to wild and dramatic amounts, but there is some ability to be quite creative with it. So I'm putting another pin on her hand and one on her elbow and one on her shoulder. And hopefully, oh, this leg's moving, so I'm going to stick another pin in here. I should be able to move it so a hand is behind her. It's not perfect. Can we reposition that a little bit? Maybe just a little bit. Now, see, this is behind her at the moment. We have a pin depth option here. If I move the pin depth forwards, then a hand goes in front of her, and if I move it backwards, a hand goes behind her. Let's move it out because it looks kind of weird there anyhow. And let's try and do the one we're all hoping for. Let's try and move a leg. So I'm going to stick a pin on her ankle and one on her knee. I'm going to stick a few pins here just around her leg, so hopefully that will hold in place. I'm also going to stick a pin up here to try and pull her shoulder from moving, and hopefully we can bend her leg down a bit. If you find it's not working great, you can right click and delete the pin. See, so it tries to work. Look at this. This is Terry Gilliam Monty Python territory. But you can always put another pin in. Yeah, let's quit while we're ahead with that. So let's OK our effect. And if we turn off puppet warp, we can see the movements we've achieved. So I'd like you to, we can either use this image or a different image. I shall post the link for where I found the image, which was off Pixabay, in the YouTube comments. I would like you to have a go at that. And then if you can try and use a similar technique with a different image, maybe you can find, I don't know, a boxer or a dancer or anything that you want to change. You could even make the tail of the dog move and post your results on the forum. That'd be great. Thank you.